Hello and happy Monday to all of you out there in social media world. This is Brother Dana coming to you from Chicago. Well, I hope you had a great weekend, but if you are in Chicago, and I'm sure those of you who do not live in Chicago have also heard that this weekend was incredibly horrible in the shootings, 50 some victims, at least 10 of them have lost their lives so far. And even as I speak right now, I know that there is a news conference going on discussing the problems in the inner city. And if you can already tell in my voice, I am so sick of it. I'm so sick of it that sometimes it just makes me want to cry. Because in a nutshell, what do you expect when you put crabs in a bucket? Do you expect them not to behave the way that they behave when you put crabs in a bucket? What do you expect? For almost 400 years, this nation has done everything in its power to put our black brothers and sisters in buckets. In buckets where we have taken away their ability to be free. We've taken their identity away. We've taken their names away. We've destroyed their families. We have taken the fathers out of the families. We have enslaved them in various ways throughout the years. We have put them in prison wrongfully. We have introduced drugs into their communities. We've taken away the strong school systems in our inner city communities. We have taken away everything that they need to survive and to thrive. And then after almost 400 years, we want to sit back and then wonder why we have this monster that we have. Why? Because we've taken everything away from our black brothers and sisters. And then expect them to act differently? Expect them to rise above it? Even when our black brothers and sisters have tried to rise above this racism and systematic prejudice and oppression in this nation, we as a society have turned around to do everything else we can to keep them in this bucket. Let's look at it. Look at our neighborhoods. Look at our inner city communities. Look at the oppression and the hopelessness. You know, and I'm not going against anybody that does anti-violence marches, but I'm also tired of those anti-violent marches. Why? Because we're marching against the victims of our society. Yes, I know that every individual has a choice. I understand that. But isn't it much easier for me as a white man to choose to do the right thing when I haven't been placed in a bucket and been removed of all of the resources that are necessary for me to make the right choices? See, when a white man goes into a school and blows away 18 people or 12 people, immediately we gather around this individual and we began to understand who failed this person, who didn't recognize he was being bullied, to help him. But then when we have a gang member that goes and shoots somebody, we march against him and say, put him into prison. Not once do we look at his life to say, but wait a minute, who failed him? So you want to stop the problem? Then first of all, we need to repent. We need to acknowledge what we have done. And we need to understand that some of our young men and women, unfortunately, might have made the choices to go beyond help at this point. But what are we doing to stop the cycle? You have 2,000, 3,000 people march on a Saturday afternoon. But where are they coming into the communities to help our young men and women in our schools that are teetering in the choices that they're making? We're nowhere to be found, and eventually they fall down to the wayside. And then we blame them for the choices that they make when we don't give them ropes. We don't give them anything to help them out of the bucket of oppression, but to judge them. It's time that we understand and give back these young people and our black brothers and sisters their identity. They're the chosen people of the Most High. They're kings and queens. Why do you think our young people, our black young people, especially our young black men, when you ask them what do they want to be when they grow up, they want to be a basketball player, they want to be a football player, they want to be a rapper. Why? Because our society only allows them to see their value or success in that arena. When do we share with them all the hundreds, and I'm talking about the hundreds of inventions that our young people have done? The computer, the internet, the cell phone, the light bulb, on and on and on. But when you take away identity, when you take away their value, when you take away who and what they are in other places, we leave them hopeless, and then we degrade them and we judge them when they start acting the way that we have taught them to believe about themselves. So you want this violence to stop? Then maybe we need to start recognizing who our young black men and women and our black brothers and sisters truly are in this nation. They're valuable people. They're inventors. They're doctors. They're lawyers. But no, we call them criminals. We call them thugs. We call your homelands places that are shitholes. We call the black men who have made it out of these buckets of oppression and systematic racism, we call them sons of bitches. And then we wonder why our young people are shooting and killing each other. But see, we don't want to acknowledge that it's been 400 years that white America has been creating this beast. And I'm not calling my black brothers and sisters crabs or beasts, but I'm talking about what we have created. And now we still want to point fingers at the shooters. We still want to point fingers at the very victims of this society. You want things to stop? Then start being honest. White America and society needs to be honest about what we have done. That we created welfare to destroy the black family. We put drugs in this community to oppress them. We created the prison system to lock up the male role models and leaders. We have done everything in our power to destroy the lives and the value of our black brothers and sisters. And then we want to sit back and wonder why our communities are the way they are and act as if we really care. Well, if you really care, then start with the truth. And if you really want to see things change, then stop marching to stop the violence. But start volunteering and dedicating your lives and your resources to empower those that have not yet stepped over into giving up. Yes, we may not be able to save some of these young men who are already caught up in the streets. But what about these young men, even in my school, that are 7th and 8th graders, that are already teetering because their identity and their value and their hope of having an equal opportunity in their future life as an adult is taken away. What do you expect to do when you take hope? What do you expect to do when you've created a society to keep our black brothers and sisters in the position in which we brought them here as slaves? So if you are one of my black brothers and sisters, I want you to know that most probably you are a true Hebrew Israelite. You are a chosen person of the Most High Yah. Your identity was taken from you when your ancestors were put on ships and taken from your homeland of Africa over here to the States and to the Caribbean islands. We took away your language, which was Hebrew. We took away your identity, which are the children of the Most High, Hebrew Israelites. We took away your beauty. We took away everything from you so that you would believe the lie that you are a monster, that you are evil, that you can only achieve to be great with the help of white society. When actually the reality is, you are what made white America great. Just my thoughts. You can see my passion. But let's stop running around trying to question why. I know why. We did it. And now all we can do is try to fix it by acknowledging it and in truly bringing in the resources to bring back into our inner city communities to empower our black brothers and sisters and let them know that they are not a crab, that they are not a gangster or a thug or lazy. You want to tell me that these guys out on the streets are lazy? When I get up and go to work, they're out there. When I come home from work, they're out there. When it's 60 below zero, they're out there. When it's 99 degrees, 100 degrees, and humidity is 100%, they're out there. They're not lazy. They're just working the best way they can work in a society that has stripped everything from them to keep them. Because ultimately, when the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois can only come up for $4,500 a year to educate one of our inner city youth, but yet can come up with $10,000 to $18,000+ a year to incarcerate them, and then you wonder why? Why the violence? See, you're not worried so much about the people that are being killed. You're worried about the reputation of a city. So it's time that we acknowledge, and it's time that we begin to give the truth of the identity of our black brothers and sisters and start treating them like who they really are, kings and queens. But until that time, don't be asking why our inner cities and our black communities are the way they are. You can reach out to me at www.onelovesociety.love. That's onelovesociety.love. Thank you for your time. Shalom.